Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to Cambodia Global Dialogue of Southeast Asia TV. Tonight we have the pleasure to have somebody who's very much specialized for the last decade or so on issues relating to IT, information technology, and his company is Digital Divide Data, most Cambodians know by DDD. And we have the pleasure to welcome the general manager, a Cambodian, who has been working with the company since the very beginning. Welcome, Kunthi. Kunthi Kann, but I call you Kunthi, okay? Kunthi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, High Excellency Siphana. I'm very excited and thank you for your invitation. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kunthi.
Good, Kunthi. Before we go to have a chat on that, let me just set the context a bit. You know, in the last 6 months or so, we have discussed quite a bit on issue, theme relating to Cambodian economic development, but more so in the context on how do we position Cambodia in its role, its place in the region, in the world, and the various sectors that we cover are quite broad and ranging: economic, environment, tourism, and everything. We did even cover IT also, but for most of us, we see IT in Cambodia as mostly company come to sell computer, company come to sell equipment, everything, and we use every day. But we don't know that in Cambodia we have company who are actually doing something what we call outsourcing. So this is pretty much the theme that Cambodia are able to bring job that supposed to be in overseas to come to Cambodia, and the Cambodian, without leaving, Cambodia, could take and do the job that is supposed to be in other country. And the trend in the world is that global outsourcing is become a day-to-day reality now. So, Kunthi, maybe for a couple of minutes you could share with the audience a bit about yourself, about DDD, and what it's all about. Yes.
Thank you very much. First, start with myself. Basically, I was born to one of the farmer family in Kampong Speu province. Yes. So I'm the youngest child in the family. Usually in Cambodia, you say that if you were born as the youngest, you get a special treatment from families or whatever. Okay. But it's quite opposite with me, because my mom said that I have nothing for you to inherit because I spent all the money and I said to put your elder brother. Yeah, elder brother, yeah. But I have a lots of land for you to be a farming if you want to be a farmer. Okay. So yeah, so I graduated from high school in 1998. Okay. At that time, maybe thousands took the exam, 2 or 3 passed. It's very strict, so you feel about you. But then I ended up working as a farmer for 1 year. Oh, is that right? Right. So, but I learned that I could not be a farmer because it's so hard. You woke up in the morning, you go to the fields and came late. And just feel asleep and tired. If I woke up late, my mom would bring a bucket of water or use a stick to like. Yeah. So that's my background. In terms of digital divide, it's a social enterprise. Yeah. What is a social enterprise? It's a social enterprise. In Cambodia, most people know company and NGO. Yes, exactly. Company is a profit-oriented. NGO is a non-profit. Social enterprise is the mix. We're using the business model to generate the revenue to support our social model. So basically, we are trying to self-sustaining. Yes. Rather than asking for money from donor. And when the project finish, it's not sustainable. So we try to be self-sustaining. So how you do that? How you do that? It's through IT outsourcing that you have just described. So basically, when we are talking about outsourcing, it's a what I would say is we call BPO, business process outsourcing. And if we're talking about this, India is leading the world. Give me some example, concrete that people know, So business outsource because of from a cost perspective. Yes. For example, most of business in Europe or in Western, they outsource to India, outsource to Philippines, outsource to Cambodia because of labor. And the time turnaround is faster and cheaper. Is that right? Right. So anything from a physical document, papers or whatever, convert to electronic format. I see. That could be searchable, analysis. But right now, you don't need to go to like Netherlands to search for document. You can search from Cambodia. All documents have been digitized. Yes. Wow. So we are part of that. So, but how do you start? How does DDD start? So it's a long story actually. Our CEO Jeremy Hockenstein, he he got his bachelor from Harvard University.
Yes, yes.
He got his master from MIT,
Yes.
famous school.
Yeah, yeah.
He started his career as a McKinsey consultant.
Yes.
He came to Angkor Wat. He know Cambodia through Angkor Wat. More people know Cambodia through Angkor Wat. He saw a lot of students and studying IT and computers, and they're so excited. So he asked them, why you study English and computer? He said, I expect to get a good job. But he looked at the market, there's no job available. So he was thrilled with the people. So he just wanted to create something. So I think in 2000, he came and recruited 3 managers sent to India.
Yes.
Knocked on 10 doors of the BPO business, 9 rejected with the reason why they have to train our competitors.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure.
But one have to say, okay, I think you want to help the world, so we helped you. So came back in 2001. We started office in Phnom Penh with 20 people.
Yes.
Yeah, where
10 years ago. Huh?
Yeah, 10 years ago. I myself started as data entry operator in November, second batch.
From a farmer to a data entry.
Right, and then became team leader assistant, team leader. And then went to Battambang to set up the office, the branch office there in October 2003.
Okay.
We set up.
Oh, you moved very quick, huh? Expand from Phnom Penh to Battambang.
It was 3rd year anniversary where most of people, we went to Siem Reap for the third year anniversary.
Yes.
Most people came back to Phnom Penh, but I went to Battambang, set up the branch office there. And the reason we set up the branch office in Battambang because Battambang surrounded by other provinces like Banteay, Mian Chai, Bosat, and Battambang was the hot battle between government and the Khmer Rouge army. So a lot of people left disability. And
So you mean to say that they employ a lot of disabled people?
The model itself is a work study programs, and so basically we choose the student from an underprivileged background.
Yes.
But they have the commitments. They have the motivation to improve themselves. But most of the time they don't have the financial resources.
I see.
So basically the people was born in a poor family. When they grew up, they drop out of school because they need to help the family to generate incomes. So the poverty cycle exists. We say that you're born poor, so you're poor. So our model is to pick those students with highly committed. When we pick them all over the provinces, some of them know nothing about English and computer. So we train them 6 months, English, computer, and soft skill. Right. And after 6 months, they know basic computer, English, and soft skills. So we offer them.
And then what you do next?
Yeah. And what we do next is we offer them a part-time jobs.
Okay.
So basically, it's digitized work.
By digitizing, you mean take a document, scan it, and turn to a PDF file or something like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, so a simple idea or process is that you take the physical documents.
A book?
Yeah, a book,
Okay.
or newspaper, or magazines,
Okay.
or archive.
Yes, yes.
Scan it,
Yes.
digitize.
Yes.
And the output can be PDF, can be Excel, can be Word, can be XML, anything that can be searchable.
I see.
So moving from a physical document to electronics.
Yes, yes.
For example, one of the biggest projects we have done for almost 3 years is the Dutch National Library.
The Dutch National Library, wow.
Yeah, so we are proud because Cambodian doing the work for the world. And we have converted almost 8 million pages.
8 million pages.
From a physical document to electronic. They just launched the website last year, so people can search. It's a public domain, 100-year back document.
Wow. But I understand that DDD also did for Harvard, no?
The first job we started was Harvard. It's a Harvard Crimson newspaper.
Wow.
Because our CEO graduated from there.
Yes,
so
yes.
they got some connections.
Yeah.
But basically, 70% of the job that we are doing right now is international.
I see.
30% are local.
Wow.
And I feel the local is growing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What do you see the local market comprised of?
It's very, most people know IT, like selling computers, selling like iPhone, iPads or whatever.
Yes.
But they don't see what is the real background behind. When we talk about IT, it's many things.
Yes.
So from electronic device to processing.
Yes.
So I think there's almost 20 companies now in Cambodia, but most of them owned by the foreigners.
I see.
Like serving the market in Europe.
Yes.
It's more on software development.
Is that right? Software development, huh?
Yeah. But for us, we are trying to do difference.
Yes.
So the people we are recruited from a disadvantaged background. Most of companies would recruited from bachelor degree, 4 year experience.
I see.
So the question we're asking ourselves, what would happen to the people with no bachelor degree and experience?
Yes.
So we
and that's where the social enterprise notion came about.
Right.
You care more, not just to make money, but you care also to make sure that the money that's been made also go to help those who are less disadvantaged or who are more disadvantaged.
Right. Yeah. So basically, It's a work-study program, like I said in the beginnings. After 6-month training, 2 more week on-the-job training, offer them a part-time jobs. And then we have the internal English classes. 1-year program, very intensive. Because in the market, you have to have a very proficient and professional English skill. In order to do a job, and also it's good for them, for their future, for their career advancement.
And after that, they start as the data entry, they digitize. What is next?
So basically, it's a work-study program. It's 4 or 5 years. It's part-time work. We have 2 shifts. 1 shift in the morning and 1 shift in the afternoon. And if they work in the morning, after 1 year, we offer them a scholarship to study at university. But before giving them a scholarship, it's career counseling. Because in general, Cambodian students would choose the subjects based on their friend.
You're right.
They see friends study ITs or whatever. They don't know if they, So they don't ask themselves what would they like to be. So we see a lot of students graduate. A lot of students drop from like 3rd year and 4th year, and we don't want to say this. So we give them a career counseling. Basically just asking them a lot of questions what you want to be, and some sort of personality test.
Mostly in IT area?
No, actually they're working in IT, but the subject they study at university is not in IT. They study finance, banking, economics.
I see.
Like English.
But with the base of IT base, right? So it's more like, yes, they have the English, they have the IT knowledge, and they can move to real sector like banking, finance, or whatever.
Right. In simple, in the real market right now, in Cambodia, in the world, if you don't know English, if you don't know computer, you cannot get a job. So it's about employment skill.
It's about employment skill.
I mean, you can look at the CV, and a lot of people having English and computer skill, but they're not up to the level expected by the employers.
I see.
So you see a lot of students say, oh, there's no job available, but there's a lot of employer looking for people.
So digital divide, that notion digital divide is, when we use the word divide, we mean, in a physical sense, divide between the rich and the poor, the urban area, the rural area is a divide, right? Division. You're on one side and then this side. Digital divide is more that this side don't know much about the IT world, this side know much about IT world. So what you try to do really is not just digitizing document and put into electronic format, but you try to help build the capacity of the people who are less knowledgeable in IT, so that they are more equipped to go on this side and get better job, with the digital knowledge. Is that what it is?
Right. I mean, basically, we talk about digital divide. The business that we're running is to generate the revenue to sustain the model. And our model is about the bridge.
The bridge.
It's a human resource development for Cambodian or a developing country. Right now we have the office in Laos. We have
is that right?
We opened the office in Kenya.
Wow.
And we are thinking of opening an office in Vietnam. So on behalf of Cambodian, I'm proud. Start from Cambodia, open in Laos. And in the past, before we started the project in Cambodia, most of white people say that you start this project and you sell customer in the world. That's impossible. Because you talk about the meeting at 8 o'clock, people show up at 9, so whatever. But right now we have almost 1,000 employees for the office.
1,000 employees?
Yeah. And we prove to the world that Cambodia is one of the a place for outsource as well.
Wow.
Yeah, because we are competing with India, with Philippines. So our customer, all over the world, when we are bidding for the project, we are competing with those. So I would say that we are very competitive.
Well, so in that sense, for me, from a trade person, my background is more law and trade, international trade, WTO, that sort of thing. I really believe that we are in a globalized world, that job does not necessarily have to be searched in your own country. In fact, that's a constraint. If you only look, Cambodia is a very small market, 14 million people, the level of economy. But through this digital sort of like knowledge, you can actually take Cambodia to other part of the world and let the world know that, look, Cambodia is in position to compete. And I have to say something more comparatively a little bit different in the sense that we're not talking about digital divide, that you can now compete with big company in the rest of the world to get their job. Look, when you have 1,000 people working, that's a lot of job, that's a lot of mouths you need to sustain, right? That's a lot of income you need to sustain. it's no different than in the real sector like rice, for example.
Right.
You know, we used to be net importer. People say, oh, forget it, Cambodia, you will always be needing help. But now you see we are a net exporter, and we are competing with big rice exporting countries like Vietnam and Thailand and Pakistan. So this is another good story that I'm very happy to say, that not just in the physical export world, but here you are exporting. In this sense, you are exporting. So this is good. But how do you see in terms of the sort of like moving up the value chain, right? Because you start as a sort of data entry, data processing, you know, and then you move to something more value added, you know, turn into stuff like how you can digitize and use into an iPad or something like this. What do you see the future of the digitized world as it impact your company in Cambodia?
So I would say in general in Cambodia, we see the government trying to improve a lot of, and you see a lot of like people working in the government factories or
Yes.
whatever. But that's for me is a low level
income.
of jobs.
Yes,
and for me, we don't want to miss the opportunity for Cambodia to take advantage of this. So we are trying to do differently using the technology.
Yes.
Yeah. For this. So we start with data entry, of course, but it has been evolving for 10 years. So right now we like ebooks also we're involving.
Oh, you're into ebooks now,
right?
Which is more complicated, right?
It's more complicated and more higher end, but more value added.
More value added.
So basically, we have a physical book, so you have to carry the book all over the world if you want to read it. But right now you can use iPad, Kindle to read the books. But in order to come the ebook, what behind, like building a house.
Okay.
So we are part of that as well.
Yes.
And most of the library all over the world right now, like Singapore National Library, Dutch National Library, British National Library, they're from physical to electronic library. So basically you can buy document online. So we are part of that.
Kunthi, you know, in that sense, I see this aspect of the digital world as part of a source of growth for Cambodia in the future, for the government to claim that, look, they're able to generate more employment, because, you know, every year a lot of young kids become 16-year-old, 17-year-old, they're looking for a job. But for your industry to grow, to survive, to compete, what do you think are needed from the government side in terms of policy, in terms of law, in terms of help, in terms of support, to make sure that a company like yourself can compete in the world, can create jobs? What sort of help you see from the government in terms of policy?
Thank you. Actually, we have been in Cambodia almost 10 years.
Yes.
But in short, we have no problem with the government so far. So I would say it's very friendly.
Yes.
But I think government can do more.
Yes.
Because when we talk about outsourcing, when we are competing with China, competing with the Philippines and India, when you're competing to get a job from the world, it's more from cost perspective.
Cost perspective, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So in Cambodia, of course, you have a cheap labor.
Yes.
But the operating costs are very expensive. The electricity is not stable.
Yeah. Okay.
Cut off.
Yes.
Expensive. The internet price is very expensive.
Internet's still expensive. Huh?
I mean, it has been cheaper.
Yeah.
Compared to Cambodia alone.
Yes.
But compared to the global market, it's more expensive.
I see.
And our job is more focused on the internet.
Yes.
Download, upload.
The speed.
The speed.
Broadband.
Right. And beside that, some sort of a human resource development.
Yes. Okay.
We have a lot of student graduate per years, but the quality, I would say, still need to be improved.
Yes.
Yeah, especially integrating the IT or English programs in the beginnings.
I see.
Philippines and they have the advantage because they study English and computer from the beginnings. But I believe Cambodia can do the same. And I see the government have very committed for this. So yeah, from a policy standpoint, it's like
education.
Education.
Good education from the early age. Yes.
And create viable policy for like attractives. Because I think government can play a lot of role. We start with 20 people, now almost 1,000. We're going to move to new office in October.
Wow.
In Phnom Penh alone, we can grow up to 1,000 people. But in order to fit these people, you need to secure a job for 1,000 employees.
Yes.
But our program is about human resource development. After 4 or 5 years, we help them to move on to better jobs.
Yes.
So it's about human resource development for Cambodian.
Okay.
Right now, they're working for ANZ, they're working for Aklida, they're working for Mobitels.
Good.
And it's a corporate social responsibility. We call this a state DNA.
Yes.
We want them to move into business, but they bring the corporate social responsibility. And what I would say, the company cannot grow if the community is not itself is not grows.
Yes.
So it's about like improving the life of the communities.
So from a policy perspective, you see that you still need help in terms of having a better education policy from the early years, so that when they get a bachelor or a baccalaureate, they are in position to walk straight into an employment category. You still feel that the cost of doing business is still high, right?
I think the cost of doing business is still high. It's much better from year to year. But compared to the all over, it's still high.
Yes. Yeah. So you still think that the broadband is still slow?
It has been improving.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm happy, but for example, the internet right now, 1 megabit maybe $250. Maybe you use about 30 megabits in US, you get about $30.
Okay.
So if this getting cheaper, you can save a lot of money.
I see.
And this can go to
more create job.
Exactly. Because the money we're generating, what I'm talking about, is going back to people development.
Yes.
English skill, computer skill.
Yes.
And so it's just how we use the money.
So in other words, I think it's doable. Things are improving year by year. And I think it's the sort of company like you're doing now that gives some hope to the country, and also some hope to government policymaker to say that, look, your growth has also been contributing to the economic development of the country, the job creation, and therefore it should give them more incentive to the government to continue improving their regulatory framework, improving their infrastructure. In this case here is more the IT, the broadband, the satellite connection, fiber optic thing. So in that sense, okay, I think it's work in progress, right? If you say it's in 2001, you start in 2001, 10 years later you see some gradual improvement. I will tell you something that will make you feel much better. When I was working for UNDP in the early days of 1993, I was a UNDP lawyer at that time. And my mother, she passed away now. She passed away 4 years ago. But at that time, she lived in the US, right? And I have to wait until I have enough thing to tell her, to have 1 page, before I can send a fax, right? And my mom, sometimes she say, why take you so long to send me the fax? Because I say, Mom, I don't have enough thing to say, because per page, 3 lines, 5 lines, 1 page, it cost me $7. $7 per page to send a fax. Then in 1995, 96, we start to have the first email. My God, you have to sit on that modem. 10 minutes later, you got a file, right? So in that sense, I'm happy. I think we come a long way.
Right.
We come a really long way. But the challenge is more toward the future.
Right.
Right? The past, we know we suffer. The present, we're happy that things have improved. But I think we have to be bold on the future. How can we be more competitive in the future? And in terms of electricity, I think it's a matter of a couple more years. You'll be happy to know that a lot of our electricity production will be coming on stream with hydropower from Kamchai, from Cambodia. All this major infrastructure will come into place. And I believe that more and more IT, the broadband will become cheaper and cheaper. And to me, it's good because I see a lot of IT company competing for customer. So hopefully all these things will help bring down the costs, and then it enable you to expand your business. But on the future, where do you see your company going, and where do you see Cambodia in terms of IT going in, say, next 5 years?
Let's say if we talk about digital divide data loans, in the next 5 years, we want to see Southeast Asia or Cambodia becoming the hubs of the digitization. We want to prove to this.
Yes.
So even we have been operating for almost 10 years. Every year we grow about 40%.
Yes.
And this year we are planning to grow double. So from 600 to 1,200 or even more.
Yes.
So I think Cambodia have a brighter future, what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Why I'm saying this, because we see a lot of developments.
Yes.
And when we opened in 2001, I think there's only a few, like Digital Divide and others, and people are not optimistic much.
Yes.
But now you have almost 20 or 30, and
yes.
business start to coming.
Wow.
So we started, we opened the road.
Yes.
Yeah, and our people graduate with the skill, go to the market. They
Yeah.
work in the government, they work in the private sector, they work in the NGO.
Yeah.
And these people are the future of Cambodians. Yeah, we have a great Angkor Wat to be proud of. And if you look at Angkor Wat, it's a teamwork.
Yes.
It takes almost 2 decades to build it.
Yeah, yeah.
So at the same to Cambodia, I feel a lot of talented. People grows internally and externally. And the challenge is how we can use this talents. Yeah, people are like oppositions or whatever, but how can we work together?
Sure.
We want to prove to the world that we can do it. It's only us can prove. Yeah, they can judge whatever, but we can prove, like we have been proving for 10 years.
Yes. Well, Kunthi, unfortunately I have coming to the end of the program, but I want to say that your story, your company story is quite something that make me feel very hopeful of the future. I see a lot of things happening in the last 20 years in this country, but more and more I'm emboldened to be more confident in the sense that I see a new layer of capacity building being built this time in the Cambodian social strata. And to me, like any economy, you need a strong base. You know, the economy needs people. People need to be competent. Competent people are the ones who make the economy more, more competitive, more sustainable. But the point is that we see this gradual improvement climbing up the value chain, from just data entry to do e-book, which require more sophistication in terms of knowledge, right? And that is something that I would want to close at the end of this program by saying that, you know, Cambodia is well placed in the regional, in the world, in the regional space, in ASEAN, and with the right policy that the royal government in Cambodia, particularly, I see that under the leadership of something like Prime Minister Hun Sen, I mean, he is a firm believer of economic liberalization. He's a firm believer of education. He's a firm believer of that opening the country will bring wealth and prosperity to the country. And you are one company, and you yourself as a farmer who start as a farmer for a year, less than me. I did almost 4 years in the killing field, in the rice field, so I know how hard farming life is. So that's something that I would want to close the program by saying that it's hope for the country. It's not just hope because destiny, it's hope because we work hard, it's hope because we see the opportunity, it's hope that we are grabbing the opportunity, and it's hope because, you know, we want to contribute to the development of our country with our own sweat and our own labor. So on that note, Kunthi, thank you so much for coming today to share with us your story. And I really wish you all the best, and I hope that a few years from now you will have 2,000 Cambodian, you know, employed, you know, from all around the country. So once again, on behalf of the audience and the station, let me say formally thank you, Kunthi, for coming. Okay.
Thank you.
So, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite exciting. This is quite a happy moment for me to know that a lot of Cambodian disadvantaged, uneducated from Battambang, from Banti Minche, from Preva here, could end up from Kampong Speu here, could start as a farmer from a poor family and move up to run a company that are doing business across the border, that are doing business worldwide, and that is bringing hope and sort of like motivation for all the young Cambodians to emulate. So once again, thank you, and I will see you next week again for another interesting show. Good night.